Okay, so I think we're live. So take it away while I
Hey,
do all this.
hey everyone, it's Paddy and Rob here from the Thinkific team. Hope you are all doing really well today. And we've got the one and only Paul Thomson from sunny Bali over in Southeast Asia. Paul, how you doing, sir? Welcome to Thinkific Live.
Thank you so much, fellas. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. And yeah, I am jealous of the Vancouver weather and the white Christmas. It's super tropical over in Bali and Australia. So yeah, would give anything for a snowman right now.
Oh mate, well I'd be more than happy to change up, mate.
Yeah, we can try.
We should do that. Let's swap. So we'll swap offices. You come over to Bali for a while, and I'll go make sure the Thinkific office is all running smooth.
Yeah, right. Well, next time we'll make sure you get the grand tour, and we'll get you up to Whistler. We'll get you up to Grouse Mountain as well.
Yep.
Let's say hello to everyone here.
Yeah,
I see Tyler and
Tyler. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Hey, Tyler. How's it going?
And we've got Susanna. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us today. And yeah, let us know what your questions are. Paul has got a wealth of knowledge as an online course creator. He's successfully launched many six-figure courses. So this is really the gentleman that you want to talk to. If you want to get, if you're looking to take your courses up to the next level, or perhaps you're still trying to figure out what it is that you need to do and how you can start earning that, that six-figure income potentially you're looking for. Paul, this is your opportunity to really grill Paul. So make sure you get them in.
Yeah.
We've got Colin who says
Colin,
hello there.
How's it going?
Thanks, mate. Thank you so much.
He's in Australia as well. I think.
Nice.
Perth. Hey, Colin. Susanna.
Cool.
Hey, how's it going? Awesome. Let us know where you guys are all from.
Nice. Good spread. Good spread of people.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Excellent.
So let's get started with so Paul, tell us a little bit about your story, how you got into online courses.
Wow. So way back in the day, I used to be a high school teacher. So I taught for almost 7 years and went up through the ranks there. Was on track to becoming a school principal actually in the final stages, and ended up taking an opportunity to join a social media startup company called Buffer, which I know you fellas know well, as we have some former Buffer team member. On the Thinkific team now, and I worked with Buffer for 2 years, completely remote company. Learned so much about social media marketing, running, remote teams and things like that, and was traveling through the world. Got to Bali, and I met a girl in Bali, and we had just awesome time together. She was in the business coaching space, and I helped her with the operations and marketing and building up her courses and programs and launching them. So from that, just derived out into getting into the online course programs and launching them, selling them, creating them, coming from the curriculum side of education, and then matching up the marketing side of what I really loved about selling online. And then I was going to say closet geek, but I am very out about this. I love techie, geeky stuff. If there's anything systems related, I mean, I could spend hours on it and I would just feel so happy and fulfilled. So I'm in this combination now of the course hosting, selling it, and putting it online. And basically I've assembled a team, a company that helps other people build the courses. And that's what I've been doing. And it's just been so much fun. It's so good.
Amazing.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, you're definitely an expert, and we know all about that. So we'd love to tap into your expertise and your knowledge today with our audience. We got a comment here from Susanna. She said she heard about the exciting course launch about the kangaroo course. I haven't heard about that. Have you heard about that? Yeah. No. So fill us in, maybe, Paul.
Yeah.
I don't know, mate. So basically, hello, Susanna. How you going? In one of the comments, I did a bit of an update for a client course. We're in the middle of the launch right now, and I gave some stats. And I didn't want to go against, the client confidentiality of the course. Yeah. So I kept it vague. And someone said, "What's the course on?" And I said, "It's how to catch a kangaroo without your hands." And the people realized, they're like, "Really? You can do what? Where do you sign up?" And I was like, "No, that's definitely not the course." Like, it was like 35K in the first 24 hours. And it was, like $24 a minute we were making. Now it's just crossed 60K in the first few days. And that's the wait list is just about to close. So that was just the wait list. We're about to open it up to the rest of the list now. Yeah, just a really, really successful launch. You know, as many course creators will tell you, will attest to, once they've tried it, the audience, the prep that you go through to get your audience ready to sell that course is so critical in any launch. And I was just really grateful to work with this client who has established herself as a absolute industry expert. She's got an incredible following and has produced such high value work for so long, and being able to introduce courses and programs in a really smooth kind of format and let it all run seamlessly has just been a joy to sit back and watch.
Now, I appreciate you can't go into like the whole method and all the details today, but where did you start? Like, where did you actually start when you this kangaroo course? How did you actually start off and go, did you build this first? Did you create the content first? How did it all work?
So generally, I work in the same format with every client. My belief is that you should be creating the course before you sell it. Now, I know this is like super controversial, and there's two different sides to the argument. Some are like, hey, let's pre-sell the course and validate it first. But the clients that I generally work with have already established themselves as a brand. They already have products and services that they're selling. They have an audience. So the validation process comes into play when they're kind of sourcing feedback, getting responses back to free content, setting out downloads, lead gen, getting people onto a list. That is a gentle sense of validation, right? They know their product and service, and they know what their audience wants. That is what I class as validation. When you get people to opt into a wait list, I think that is kind of the very start, validating the fact that we need a course. The content was produced already, and I just want to like interject go backwards a little bit. Some people get really caught up or apprehensive about creating content and then the course doesn't sell. And that's the worst feeling ever. I mean, I see it so often, and it's really, really heartbreaking because they pour their time, their money, their energy, their resources into creating this product, and then it doesn't launch. I am a massive advocate of trying to help, facilitate successful launches of so many different degrees, right? It doesn't have to be always a six-figure launch. But being able to create content that is meaningful and is going to be valuable for other people to consume, and then selling that, that's a great feeling. And even if the content doesn't sell, right? Say no one buys the course and no one ever buys the course. In this day and age, that content that you've created, if you have created the content, can be repurposed in so many other different ways. Okay, then if no one's going to buy that course, why don't you release some of the lessons or a module as a bit of a taste tester, a lead gen into the rest of your course or the rest of your tiers, and kind of repurposing and reusing that, and just kind of getting back up onto that forward momentum, right? I treat every single launch that I release as a test. It doesn't matter how successful it is just always a test. The algorithms change, like people's behaviors change, email marketing changes, everything is always fluid and moving. And what worked, 12 months ago might not necessarily be the most effective way now. And so if I go into the mindset of, hey, this is going to be just a test, let's work this out. It's a calculated test, but if it's a test, then we don't feel dejected, and then it's okay, what can we do to iterate and work on it better for next time? Then back to your question there, Rob. So basically we test out, create some kind of waitlist, lead gen, opt-in, and then the launch is through direct marketing and post on social media. We get them to a sales page, they sign up to a wait list, and then after that, basically the buttons flip, right? And we kind of send the wait list a direct link to buy. They get a few extra bonuses for signing up early. Those bonuses and that discounted price goes away, and we put them onto kind of an early bird pricing to get that momentum, that audience still coming through. And we just continue to post out value content, insights, letting them know about the transformation that they'll get from the course. And that's the general tactic for how we go about launching and retargeting people who are interested but haven't purchased yet.
Yeah, I'm going to go right back to the start. What I found really interesting is that you've stated something I think actually something we've been talking a lot on our Facebook lives recently about like pre-launching. Pre-launching is the way to do it. But I think that the way that you positioned it is, you know, if you have that brand, if you have that established name in the market, then you don't really necessarily need to put all that work in for the pre-launch because you've already validated all of it. But what also strikes me is that it doesn't matter if you're at the beginning as an entrepreneur or if you're already like, you know, 5 to almost 6 figures, you still have to create content. You still have to build relationships. You still have to build a community and like a following around yourself. Would you say that's a fair statement?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of to like support what the message from you guys and what I see out so often, the pre-launching, the pre-validating the course before you sell it. One iteration of a model that I really, really admire and I do so often is the beta launch, you know, the inner circle, the VIP launch, where essentially you create a lean course, an MVP, minimum viable course, whatever you want to call it. And it's just the bare basic course that will be able to get your students from point A to point B. It's just the absolute minimum. And you sell that with the intention of inviting a select handful of people onto the course for a discounted price. And you essentially launch it with the intention that on going through the course, you give me feedback. You know, let me know, how was the video? Was this helpful for you? What did you miss out on? And you get this feedback. And then once they've completed the course, they've got the value, right? Because they've learned something. You've got the value because you've got that feedback. They had it for a heavily discounted price, and then they give you the testimonials, right? Which is what sells online courses so well, is you have testimonials for that exact course, and you have feedback, and they paid you, right? So it is just a really great like iteration or a step up model from the pre-selling, you know, the sales page and going into, and it's just that one step further. I don't want you to spend 6 months, 12 months assembling this course and hoping that will sell. Like that's definitely not the message that I want to be preaching. But, you know, being able to create a product or get used to creating a product and delivering content via, you know, the online course platform itself is a skill that you've got to get used to and you've got to learn if you're going down this path. So that beta launching is definitely a great midway point between the two.
Interesting. And would you say it's a good idea for the budding course creator out there that is looking to get testimonials and reviews? Would you say it's advisable for them to make it like part of their terms, conditions, or like the reason why you're getting like this substantial discount on this course, or you're getting access early is because you're going to give us a review? Is there a way? Is there like a good way to say it without sounding like how I just did?
Like how you just said it? Yeah.
Without that, no. Mate, I am all for transparency, you know, in everything I do and how I run the business and all of the launches. I am always trying to run it from integrity and transparency. So I found if you're just honest with people and you clearly state the transaction at play, you know, say, hey, look, I really want to. So some of the language is, here's the course that I've created. It would be an absolute honor to invite you to come in as my inner circle or as my beta students, my clients, to go through the course and to give feedback so that you might be able to help improve the course for those coming after you. As a token of thanks for coming on and giving me your time to do the feedback, I'm going to give it to you for 80% off. And you're going to get a little bit of extra support where you'll be able to share with me your experience. And I would really, really love a testimonial at the end of it. If, you know, to hear your thoughts and how you found, you know, so it's just really natural. It's transparent. They know what to expect. Everyone's on the same page. They understand it's an MVP. They understand that they're going to have to give some value or some like feedback value and a testimonial afterwards. And I found that to be the most fluid way, because no one feels great about a forced testimonial, right? Having a testimonial written into the terms of the contract and then having to pry that out and say, hey, look, you said that you signed the contract or you accepted the terms. Where's my testimonial? I mean, that's not going to feel too great, is it? So being able to set up that relationship early on and facilitate that in a way that's opening and welcoming, I think that's going to get you the best testimonials out there.
That's a great point. So everyone, so I know everyone we've been, so everyone watching the replay. So this is something we've been talking about a lot. You know, the whole concept of pre-launch. Make sure you take notes of that, because that is some really, really super advice. One thing I wanted to pick up on what you were talking about when you discount like this beta launch course. How do you figure out that beta launch price? I know this is a big question that we get asked anyway.
Huge question.
Yeah.
Pricing, right? It's
or just generally
talk us the about conversation. Yeah. So look, it's so vague. So generally, the way I look at pricing is through a few different models. And what I find is people generally underprice their courses because they're too scared that no one will buy it, or they overprice their courses because they have a different perspective of what their offer is worth, right? So if I come halfway in between that, and I generally talk with clients through their pricing models, I would say generally anything under $99 is like way too low. I would think $100 would be the minimum for a course. Up to a general course between 4 weeks and 12 weeks long would be around $1,000. Is a fairly good price for what I've seen in the classic webinar model, where you sign up to a wait list for the webinar on a landing page. Webinar ticks over automatically every 15 minutes. Out of those 100 signups, I think the industry rate is about 3% close at the end of the webinar and at the end of the email funnel, and around $1,000 is a pretty good price point for that. Three grand and up over $3,000 it drops a little bit on the conversions. It makes it a little bit more expensive if you're running ads to it. And under $1,000, it's not really that, not that it's not viable, but it's expensive running ads to get 100 leads, cold leads, to a landing page for $1,000 purchase, right? So you want to make sure that that there's a good balance in there. And then in terms of the beta pricing, what I always try and do is find out what the minimum price that someone would be very comfortable selling their course for, right? Because it's an extension of ourselves. We have our own skills and knowledge. We're passionate about it. We want to be able to teach other people. So what is, the minimum price that you would sell that for? And once we kind of get a fairly good figure there, we set that as, and this is the tricky part, I set that as the beta launch. And I'm like, okay, you feel comfortable selling your course for $199. And they're like, yep, that would be the least I would sell it for. And I'm okay, well, instead of discounting that, let's put that as the beta, right? Let's say, okay, for $199, let's say $149 to come and do the beta. And then you tell people on the sales page, or you flip the script and say, this course in the beta, I'm inviting you into the inner circle for $149. When we go to sell this in the full scope, it's actually going to be $499, right? Or $599. And you kind of flip the script, and then they get to experience the full value of their worth while they are taking people through the course and like generating that upfront revenue, which that's the hardest part, right? We're all in business, right? And as course creators, we need revenue into our company, right? We're trying to create, in some cases, a passive stream of income. In other cases, we want a little bit more hands-on, but we're in business. And so if I can help the business side of the course creators earn as much money as they can to have that wealth freedom, time freedom, while at the same time for students making sure that the courses are valuable and impactful and meaningful, then I think that's a happy balance, right? Both parties should be able to come out on top, right? You should be able to take a course and learn something, and you should be able to sell the course for what you think it is worth.
So you're definitely saying like don't like give it away for free. Don't make your beta launch like a free thing. It's always
because there's no transaction in that. When you give away free stuff, it's the likelihood of someone partaking in it and going through to the very end and investing in it and trying just drops dramatically. If you add some transactional value there, there's an investment. There's an investment that says, hey, I paid for this, I'm going to do it. And in saying that, there's also an expectation that, hey, if I paid for something, then I'm going to get something in return. So I would always end for that beta, that validation process for no free courses. In saying that, once you've established that a course is successful, people buy it and they really like it. I think using a free course model to get people into your other courses and upsell them into your other programs is exceptional. I think using a free course it doesn't have to be hours of content. It can just be a simple taster intro course. It might be a module of one of your paid courses, it might be a few lessons. but giving them a taste of what they can experience from teaching from you and what they can learn, and then giving them, the students, the opportunity to upsell into your other courses and programs. I think even for like 7 and 8-figure clients, like we're always building courses to upsell them into their other services and products. I mean, that's the whole idea of creating an infrastructure of courses. Your first course shouldn't be your last course. You know, your first course should be the drop in the ocean, the tip of the iceberg. You know, we want for you to create a sustainable business. We want you to have this model of online courses that is going to generate recurring income for you. And, you know, once someone buys off you, they're so much more likely to buy off you again. And it is so much cheaper trying to get someone who's already bought off you to buy off you again than it is to get someone who has never heard of you to buy off you originally. Yeah. So why wouldn't you just give extra value to your clients and help those people who have already been in your courses? And I really love the idea of having, you know, that private Facebook community or group for alumni and people who do your courses, because my goodness, that's the first place that you go back to beta launch your next course, right? If people are already taking your course and you want to try and find a list of people who are more likely to jump on board and support you early on, go to the people who've already bought off you. I mean, it just makes so much sense.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And one thing for everyone watching on the replay and watching us live, it is absolutely essential to have that whole suite of products, or or that next thing up that someone can always take. And one thing, Sonny Lenarduzzi is a course creator here on the Thinkific platform. She specializes in teaching people she coaches people how to be like YouTube experts and to grow the channel. And what she found is that she used to be able to coach people, ran out of time, but then the course itself, she launched like a smaller course, and it enabled those students that perhaps couldn't afford the one-on-one consultation or where she didn't have the time to coach them. She was like getting those people like leveling up. So you should, as a course creator, Paul's absolutely spot on here. You've got to have a suite of products. There's always leveling up your audience to get them to your, like you said, your mastermind group, your VIP alumni. And that's obviously where you can charge big bucks. Because when you get that type of successful person in your group, that's again, value add, for your own audience. Say, well, we've got Rob who's going to, he's the absolute master when it comes to social media. He's in our VIP group. So you need to level up, or you need to come and join us.
Absolutely.
So next questions that come in. So we got Tina Dean. So Tina, thanks so much for joining us on the live today.
Hey, Tina.
And Tina asks, so what ways can you connect with people who have enrolled in your free one, and how do you convert them to paid?
Yeah. So being able to connect with them in 2 ways, either direct marketing, so direct email, creating that conversation there to the students who are enrolled in your group. Thinkific does an amazing job of creating those reports and seeing who's currently enrolled and like where you've come from, and being able to house those emails. I think that's just priceless. So that's one platform, creating the conversation there. And the second is creating a group of some kind, or a community separate to your courses. I've seen this done in Voxer groups, in Facebook groups, in Slack groups. It's just a platform or a home where you keep your alumni and current students and give them a sense of community and networking, where they can collaborate and talk with other students in your courses, and they can reach out to maybe mentors that you have on board that can kind of help them. That's a really, really great question. And also to extend on that, being able to support your community as they go through the courses and open up the conversation just helps with accountability and with momentum. From a course creator's point of view, from a curriculum, or an educator's point of view, one of the main metrics that I find that drives success in courses is momentum. We look at things like retention rates, the likelihood of someone starting your course or the percentage of them starting to who finishes. That's like the retention rate of students. But I think momentum is the biggest driver. Like if you can create content that inspires momentum, that gets them to the next lesson, that is sequential, it's chronological and incremental, it's kind of step by step along the way. I think that experience, coupled with an accountability of a group, getting them to do actionable tasks, getting out there, collaborating with other students in the course, just drives everyone onto the same page, and you create a tribe. You create a community going through your course. And those people who kind of stick together when you have that cohesiveness, I mean, that's just going to drive them and push them through your course. Because at the end of the day, you want them to do the content for two reasons. One, of course, we want them to succeed or transform or come up with a solution, whatever you're teaching, right? We want them to succeed in that path. But also, we want the students who are doing a course to know that you were the expert, or you were the resource that they used or to lean on to grow and change and to overcome whatever they were trying to learn, right? And if they drop out of your course, and because they don't have the momentum, it's too hard, or it's too long, that kind of thing, then you find that you don't get that repeat customers, right? If they didn't have a great experience for the first time, then they're probably not going to come back. Likelihood of them coming back the second time isn't there. So that's a great question.
Yeah, it's super important. Student success has to be a fundamental metric that you measure as a course creator. What other key things can someone do to ensure that success outside of like the community and the accountability aspects? Is there any let's just use the Thinkific platform for example? Is there any features that you would use in there? I
love the active campaign integration. So when that dropped and that API opened up, being able to trigger like time delays on like, hey, we haven't seen you for a few days, or like, hey, you're only 30% through the course, like wondering if there's anything I can help you with. And it's just a conversation, but it's also a prompt. It's a reminder like, hey, I see you, I know that you are in your course, and I know that life takes over, right? I know that other priorities, you have families and kids and travel and business to run. I know that you're going through. Is there something I can help you with, right? And being able to open up that conversation and just add that extra reminder is inspiring, right? It just kind of triggers that, oh yeah, I should get back in there and I should do that. The other way, or the other kind of little hack or trick that I generally try to use is I opt for shorter video lessons than longer video lessons. Generally, if I can keep all my video lessons between 5 minutes and say 20 minutes, I think that has been the sweet spot for momentum in courses. And the reason why it's so short is because I want people to get to the lesson, and I want the lesson to be very pragmatic, and I want it to be focused, so that when someone comes into the lesson, they know exactly what they're going to learn. They understand the context of what they're about to do. There's a bit of an example or a demonstration, and then there's an actionable task, right? That to me is teaching, because traditionally teachers just talk at students, right? Teachers they write knowledge on the board and then you do, like I tell, you do. And that's not the most effective way of education, right? We know that now in the 21st century, and now leveraging off what we're seeing in progressive schooling systems, flipped learning and things like that, putting that into an online course setting for these entrepreneurs or coaches or agencies and that kind of thing has just been profound, right? Because we are moving away from, or I've seen at least a moving away from the 1 hour to 2 hour lesson videos and into these more structured sequential lessons. And I found that to be so much more successful and engaging for students because it's really targeted. They know exactly what they're getting into. Now, sure, there are times, I've done influencer courses where we're doing walkthroughs of Lightroom and video editing and things like that. Sure, some of those are going to be a little bit longer, right? It takes some time to get this done. It's not a hard and fast rule, but I think generally if we try and condense the lessons into a really structured format, and there's no kind of waffling and talking and baffling about and just get onto the education side, I think that's really helps for the kind of the level of quality and professionalism in the course.
Great advice. Yeah, keep it short, keep it sweet. That's really, really superb advice. We've seen it so many times. Videos like in excess of 40
Nobody
minutes.
wants long videos, right?
We just can't do it. Yeah.
So let's see. I think we just saw
some
question near the end.
Thanks from Tina. So Tina's like, yeah, just awesome tips. So really appreciate that. Tina, if you have any other questions, drop them in the comments. We're happy to answer them. Colin has a quick question, Paul, about your equipment. So microphone, lighting, camera. What's your setup there?
My setup here is an Apple MacBook Pro and my Apple AirPods. That's it. And I don't have any lights. I have nothing. It is just It is super stock standard. And that's what I love about the current state of technology, right? You know, we have a full HD camera just wedged in our laptop. We have audio quality from our headphones now that is so pristine that anyone, it is so accessible for people. They don't have to go out and hire huge production teams and lighting crews and film crews and cameras and things like that. What I say to a lot of my clients is that people are coming to you for the knowledge and the resource that you're going to give them. They don't want to come to you because you have a fancy lighting rig and camera thing. Now, there is the caveat to that is absolutely there are times when I need good equipment. So over here, so I have, this is like my newest toy at the moment. It's that little Rode mic and it just clips straight into my phone. And I use that for when I do vlogs and things like that. But it's, again, it's just my phone, right? It records in 4K. What else could you possibly need? For those other professional photographers and videographers that I work with, I'm always so envious and proud when I see this quality come through, because I'm like, wow, you had the full DSLR, this beautiful mirrorless camera, and this is great kind of thing. But I think generally people are fairly forgiving of the video as long as you're in a quiet environment and the audio is nice and clear. There's no dogs or like outside noise and it's hard to hear. I think that's generally the probably the most important part. If you sit in front of a window, you get great light. And if you have some good headphones, you'll get great audio quality. That's probably the most accessible way to do it.
Perfect. There you go, guys. Testament to just like what we have already is enough. Don't go out buying, crazy equipment unless you want to, unless you're getting unless maybe you're like a couple steps down the road with your online courses and your business. But yeah, your webcam, your phone is more than enough. We use that all the time here as well. So awesome. Thank you, Colin. Let me know if that answers your question there. Oh, lighting. What kind of lighting? Is it natural light or what do you have there?
So natural light. So I just find a mirror, a window. Sorry, not a mirror. I find a window to sit in front of.
Staring at a mirror.
I just stare at mirrors all day. I'm like, oh, hey, Paul. So man, just find some natural lighting. And the other thing that I don't like in a lot of the co-working spaces that I work from over in Bali is they have lots of downlights that like create some shadow. So as long as you have a bit of a fresh light coming towards your face, that is just fine. And there are really good selfie lights you can get at the moment that kind of attach to your camera and cases. If you wanted to get a really simple lighting rig set up that just puts a wash over it, but generally find a good window to sit in front of. Or if you want to invest, get just a really small light box, and it'll diffuse the light.
Perfect. And awesome. Colin, let us know if that answers your question. Just calling us out here. We can take it from Colin. He's a good guy. I know Colin.
I like Colin. This is good.
He said, what was it? He said, great, thanks. Paul looks better than these two other bozos. Cheers, mate.
I agree.
I appreciate it, Colin. Thanks, man. Arena.
We got a really good question here from Arena. So I'll read it out for everyone here, also on YouTube. So my course is super subject specific. It's on many pathways to recovery from substance use disorders, educating industry professionals on the many pathways so they can refer their clients to multiple options instead of just the 12 steps. I don't have a level up plan as I'm pouring all the info I've been training on this skills training course. Am I screwed? So I guess it's just sort of like it's like you're solving one particular thing and then there's really no upsell, right? So maybe that's the question for people that don't necessarily have an upsell.
Right. So then my question would be, to a client like this, if there is a really specific course or problem that you're trying to solve, say hypothetically that problem is solved, right? They overcome it, they've got these steps, they've got the program, or they've managed to kind of transform and get to where they want to be. What does that person then go on to do? Like what is an extension of that once you've reached that point? Is it then, so it looks like, just let me read it again, educating industry professionals on the many pathways. So say that they know now the system that people could use, then what's a subsequent kind of skill set or a subsequent set of knowledge that they could use to couple with that pathways? Is it then creating PR and job opportunities for people who are skilled up and able to go into the workplace, after being through substance abuse? Is it teaching, entrepreneurial skills or startup skills or how to acquire jobs, right? So there is like this whole paradigm around like upskilling that one area of these professionals and how they can then further help the people that they're bringing through that course. I mean, online courses, the most like beautiful and fascinating thing is that there really is no limit, right? We all have a set of skills and knowledge and our own unique perspectives that we can teach to other people. And it's the fascinating thing, you know. A lot of people get self-conscious or apprehensive. They're like, oh, I'm not really smart enough. I'm not an expert enough. I want to wait until I know more before I can do this. Well, my counter argument to that is there's always going to be someone that knows less than you. You know, I admire and look up to so many of the course creators out there, and I make it part of my day to go through their funnels, and I want to learn from them, and I want to see what's happening, and I want to kind of leverage the big brands and see what they're doing. Likewise, I really love being able to teach and facilitate online course education and upskilling other people who don't know what I know. And so applying that model across the board, I mean, we all have something to offer, and there's always going to be an extension on the course. Yeah, that was a really good question.
Yeah, awesome. That was a good question. Yeah, Arena, hopefully that helps and answers your question there. If you have a sort of a follow-up question, happy to answer that as well. Just drop it in the comments. Yeah, awesome. Paul, you kind of touched, I'm going to go back a little bit to the free course. You mentioned, you know, like obviously charge for your first course, but then, you know, maybe as you go, those, you know, the $99 course can be somewhat turned into like a free course that's sort of like a lead magnet that then goes into the higher thing. So is that something that you would like off this, like if I don't have any courses yet, I'm just starting,
sure,
what would be your suggestion? What sort of like, you know, basic roadmap, you know, should I create that $99 course first or $199 or the free one?
Yeah, so the roadmap would be create the awareness of the product that you are going to sell first. You know, if you want to create a course on social media or marketing, something like that, then first go think about where you're going to sell this course to. Go there and establish yourself as an expert or create awareness about what you are, you know, going to provide in the long term. That would be the first step. In that process, getting some feedback and learning a little bit about what people ask for questions, what they want help with, you know, what are the conversations around, and applying that into the course setting of what you produce. Once you produce a course, I would test both some like free content, some free lessons, which might just be, hey, come in and do this 3-part series on this really simple fact or this simple kind of step, and have that as a free course, right? And it might just be half an hour of content, an hour of content, something like that, that just kind of helps people get used to what you're doing. So you could use that as a free course. And then you can also use that as basically creates this lead generator, right? And for those who don't know, maybe don't. So lead generator is someone, you know, who opts in or gives them your email address or gives you a signal, signs up for your course or your PDF download or your freebie or your value transaction, basically. Those people then who are consuming your free content get that value out of it, and you essentially work your way into a relationship where you are selling back to them the course or the next step up. In terms of creating a paid course then, I mean, it would just be I would say lean towards creating the paid course. Again, we want money in the business, right? We want to create a sustainable business. We want to get it up off the ground. I know so many people. So like my inbox is inundated at the moment with business owners, fresh, who want to start 2019 strong. They're like, hey, I've got it. This is the year. Like, I'm going to do it strong. Where do I start? Right? Everyone's at the where do I start part. How do I do this? Which is such a natural progression, right? Because we all want to start on the right foot. So if you go from that mentality, then you want to start with a course, right? So just create a low tier offer, something introductory, something that is a bit of a no-brainer for people to invest into. And I find that for new course creators, when they get that first sale, that second sale, that third, that fifth, that 10th, like it is just so thrilling for them. And they get this sense of validation that, hey, I am worthy enough, right? Even though they were before, but they get this extra sense of fire and they're like, wow, people want to learn off me. They want to buy off me. And that is, that's the taste of that entrepreneurialism, right? That's that taste of getting that extra revenue into the business. So create a low tier course. You know, I think $99 is probably the lowest I would go for a course. If we have influencers selling preset packs on Instagram for like $50, then a course at $99 doesn't seem like a huge jump, right? And you're actually giving them immense value. So I would kind of opt in to there to be a purchase that isn't a huge leap for someone, but it also is enough of a leap to invest into that program.
Awesome. That's really, really superb advice. Paul, where can someone go and find you if they want to actually maybe inquire about using your services or looking to learn more from you?
You have to come to Bali. That's it. You just have to come to tropical paradise. Yep, everyone. Yep, see you there.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Bye. So I am at the Paul Thomson all over social media and my website as well. So if you just type in the Paul Thomson, I will pop up in some way. And I also run a Facebook group, my own community called the Online Course Creators Hub. And it's essentially just as it sounds. It's just online course creators in there asking questions about courses. I mean, I try and go in and help like as much as I can, answer questions, give advice, share my kind of learnings along the way. Because as I said right back in the very start, every launch is a test for me. So I'll let you know like my wins and my losses and things like that. And yeah, so that's where you can find me. And I'm an open book. My messenger buzzes all day, every day. And I love chatting with people in there and giving them answers to questions. So feel free to reach out and I'll love to help in any way.
Amazing. I want to quickly give a quick shout out to Colin again, who he's seen how much of an open book you are now.
Yeah.
He just said he wants to know where you can go and claim that 90% discount you was talking about.
Yes, well, Colin, you make it to Bali, mate, and I'll give you the 90% discount on our consultation.
Don't dare him. I'm pretty sure he would
He'll
go.
probably go.
I know. I was about to say that, Colin, you pay for lunch, and
there you go. No, awesome. Colin is our one of our favorite Australians. So yeah, he's a great guy.
Good.
So yeah, hopefully you will connect. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's great. That's awesome. We got a question here in the YouTube on YouTube as well.
This one's from B Life.
Yeah. We're reading both comments on both YouTube and Facebook, but he's wondering how to market to a wide variety of people who may be into your course. So yeah, I mean, we covered that a little bit.
I think that's the sort of.
I mean,
that's almost like a paradoxical question.
Yeah,
you gotta like find your target audience. I would say be like find your target audience before. Yeah. So instead of just trying to market to everyone. So if you have like a health and fitness course, don't say I'm going to teach males, females of all ages and shapes, etc. How to get in shape. It doesn't really work. So try to figure out what your target audience is.
Yeah.
Paul, I know you're going to have some other stuff to add on that, but how could someone go out and define their audience better?
And yeah, that's such a good question, and I see from a marketing point of view, and especially when you get down into the nitty gritty of, copywriting, being able to hone in on your ideal audience or student that you're trying to serve is critical to not only the success of the marketing side of the course, but also for the course itself. Because what happens if you try and go too wide and too broad is that when people do your course, they feel unfulfilled. They're like, hey, this isn't really relevant. Like imagine doing health and fitness and you might talk about, like the hormonal like cycles of men and testosterone and how it affects, lifting weights. And then the women doing the course are like, well, that's not even relevant for me. Like, why would I want to know how much testosterone grows my biceps, right? So they being able to kind of hone in on your audience and to do that, just get really exploratory, right, with your questioning. Like, who is it that you're actually trying to serve? And what are you trying to help them with? What is the problem that you are getting this feedback from? Because again, it's easy for us to just imagine what this problem is. You're like, oh yeah, I know this audience has this problem. But did you ask them? Is this just your perspective of what their problem is? Or have you seen the signals? Have they told you? Are you having conversations with these people? That's the validation, right? That's the area where you're building up this sense of, oh, I'm researching, finding out what's going on. And in that, you should build up a really clear picture of, what your service is, who you're trying to serve, and then how you're going to help them. That is the course. When you tie all that together and you get really, really honed in on that, then the marketing becomes on point. Then people read the copy. They're like, wow, it's talking straight to me. And then the sense of investment, that journey to go from awareness to I'm going to click and buy is so much shorter and so much smoother. One of my favorite articles to or blog posts to direct people to get them a sense of, you know, serving a wide variety of people versus a niche group is called 1000 True Fans. I don't know if you've heard of it. So it's a super long form post. It has been revised a few years ago to kind of bring into the new technology kind of online purchases and things like that. 1000 True Fans. It is just, yeah, the whole notion is, you know, you only need to serve your 1000 truest passionate fans of you. And then you have created a message and a business that is super self-sustaining, and you will always have that path to take. So that's a good resource to kind of check into to get that messaging right.
Awesome. We'll make sure we get that into the comments. And that's a great point. You know, you don't need that 100. I mean, obviously it'd be nice, had a highly engaged 100K million plus list, but really it comes back just how it,
focus.
How we see it so many times, right? YouTube channels with like several 100,000 subscribers and there's like 5 views, 5 likes. You know, that's not an engaged.
No.
It's not an engaged.
The same with Instagram, right? In Bali, in Canggu, and especially there's Instagram influencers everywhere. We have some of the biggest influencers in the world in Canggu right now. And, you know, I'm sitting across the cafe talking to them about their courses and things like that, and asking them about what their engagement rates are and what their kind of click-through rates are like on these courses. You know, these guys are getting 40, 50, 60,000 views on their stories, and they're still only converting, 24 people in day one of their wait list. Wow. And I'm just thinking, like, what's going on? Like, why, and this is before I get to them, right? I'm just like, man. So then we go through and you just see there's just parts of the funnel don't match up. Like the sales copy isn't there. It's not really niche down to the audience. Their audience is super wide. They're trying to do photography courses, but people just want to consume their free content. Like, there's so much that goes into it, but it just goes to show, even if, one of the biggest influencers, you've got like millions of followers and other ones with like 850,000 followers, and they're still a low percentage of conversions. So my advice that I talk with clients and people is that don't get dejected by the small numbers of conversions, right? Because what you are probably assuming, you're like, oh, I have an email list, I should be getting, 50%. Why aren't people opening my email list? But that's okay. Like, that's just not the industry standard. That's not what people do. So if you come to it from an umbrella point of view, don't get dejected. Just keep staying on your path, like keep kind of working and tweaking the funnel, listening to feedback, working out what it is you can improve. Again, it's just always a test, right? It's never the definitive be all, oh, I failed at online courses, I'm going to quit, I'm going to give up. Go and get on the Thinkific blog, far out. The amount of amazing content on there to just teach, to upskill, to learn what these experts are doing is so resourceful. Spend an afternoon, read through 3 posts, then go back to your funnel and tweak, right? I think like just email copy, like headings and just sales page structure, validating the course. Like it's just, the resources are there. Yeah. Just go and apply parts of it, and keep testing.
Yeah, that's great advice, and thank you so much. Obviously giving the blog a plug as well. We definitely, our content team are going to be delighted to hear that. Tyler, if you're still in the Facebook chat, mate, thank you for doing such a great job.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, so I think you've touched on some really, really, really great points here, and I think we've been able to definitely, I would say the abridged version of getting a course out there within like the next like 40, 45 minutes. Is there any other like last piece of advice you want to leave, or anything, a last message you'd like to leave with the Thinkific users and the people joining us live and on the replay?
I would say, that's a hard one. I don't know, just keep on your path. I think that's probably the trickiest thing in business, especially when you're working for yourself, you're trying to create products and trying to sell them. Having that mindset and having the strength to kind of continue when products might not go to plan, or you might not sell as much, and have to kind of cop those blows on the chin. I mean, it gets better. People refine what they do. We learn, we change tactics, we listen to other experts and resources out there, and you just continue to practice and get better. So don't ever try and withhold, your skills or knowledge just because you feel like you're not going to be able to sell it. I still think you have a really valuable message and a valuable contribution that you can make to these people's lives to help them. And that goes across every field. So yeah, just really kind of sink into that and keep on building those courses.
Amazing. So yeah, everyone, don't give up. Keep plugging away.
Yep.
Do the right things. Paul, thank you so much, mate. We really are looking forward to invite you on to another Facebook Live. If you stick around just after we go off the air, I just want to ask you a couple more questions about some stuff we've got planned for quarter one. But everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Let us know what your thoughts were. Give a thumbs up, give a thanks to Paul as well in the comments on YouTube Live. If you've got any other questions, let us know in the comments, and we will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Around the same time.
Same time.
Paul, thank you
Excellent.
so much, Paul.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.